Surprise! eBay has a new $20 fee that you could get hit with totally out of the blue if you are not aware that this is even possible. And if not, you definitely want to pay attention to this video because it could potentially help you avoid getting hit with this fee in the future. Or if you do wind up getting hit with it, it could help you figure out how to respond to it. Now, this fee has to do with eBay's managed payments program. If you're not on it yet, you will be by 2022 if you want to sell on the platform, because eBay will make it mandatory by then and have everyone transitioned onto it. Now, if you're new to reselling and eBay and you're not familiar with this program, basically it allows eBay to take complete control over all of the payment processing and take PayPal totally out of that aspect. So now, with eBay being in charge of all the payment processing, they have direct access to those funds. And that's going to be important, as I'll show you in a few moments. Now, the reason I emphasize that everyone's going to be on this program is that that is going to open up everybody watching this video who's going to be selling on eBay to this fee. And in addition to that, the situation in which this fee can be applied to you is actually pretty common. Now, I'm going to share with you a real life example of someone who I know who was recently just hit with this fee. And I'm going to share with you the screenshot of it from eBay hitting him with this fee in just a few moments. Now, this is someone I've known for a while, is someone who is a subscriber to this channel, is a member of my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. I have met this person in person and talked to him before. So I trust that the information provided to me is accurate. And again, I have the screenshot to prove that this fee was assigned to him. So what happened in this example is that this person sold a t-shirt for $30 and shipped it off on time. Now, you could use any item that you sell as the example for this case, but imagine for this example that whatever item it is that you sent out, that item got stuck in transit somewhere along the line. Let's say it got stuck somewhere for a month. That's what happened in this case. Now, it could get stuck in, let's say, a USPS distribution center for a month. That happened to many of us, including me, in the winter of 2020 due to the whole USPS shipping and delivery debacle. It could be something that gets stuck somewhere along the line with FedEx or with UPS. Or if it's something that you sold internationally, it could get stuck somewhere in customs. That's what happened in this case. The shirt got stuck in customs. Why? We don't know. Sometimes, as you're all well aware, if you sell on eBay, is that sometimes information is made clear to us from postal services and from customs places, and other times it's not. Sometimes they send stuff back to us and it's clear when we get it why, and other times it's mysterious. We don't really know. In this instance, the item wound up getting sent back. But again, it was nothing that we know of that was the fault of the seller. It's not anything that was controversial or complicated, simply a t-shirt in a poly bag. Now, the buyer who's waiting patiently for the item, sees the tracking, looking at it every day, notices that the item's getting sent back to the seller. So reaches out to the seller and says, hey, heads up, I saw this happening in the tracking. I still want the item. So seller's like, okay, when I get the item back, we'll work out how to do that. Well, 3 days later, the buyer changes his or her mind, doesn't want the shirt anymore. But unlike before, doesn't reach out directly to the seller. Instead, goes right to eBay and opens up a case against the seller and wants his money back, wants all his money back, plus the shipping, and to add insult to injury, opens a fraud case up against the seller. Now, the seller didn't, again, do anything wrong. The seller didn't do anything fraudulent, shipped out the item outside of his control. It got stuck in customs and then wound up getting sent back. And so this is all happening now while the item is still in transit. Remember, it's 3 days later. It's coming from, over from customs. Now, sometimes people change their mind, but also sometimes when there's unusual things that could be happening with an item getting stuck and there's no communication about it, buyers could sometimes get suspicious and they could maybe think they're getting scammed. And sometimes we as sellers could think that a buyer is scamming us. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. In this instance, the seller started to get concerned that maybe the buyer was scamming him after all, opening up a fraud case, wanting money back. And, there was nothing that the seller did wrong. Well, eBay, unfortunately, as many of you know who have dealt with returns on eBay, now eBay reflexively approves all returns to improve the buyer experience. I get what they're trying to do, but it's a misapplied thing when you're doing it black and white, and it winds up hurting a lot of sellers in the process. So basically, to make a long story short, what happens, eBay does give you options in terms of what you want to do, how you want to handle things. What the seller ultimately decided to do is to file a dispute against the buyer's own dispute and against eBay's decision to reflexively approve this refund. So contests it. And this is where the problem happens. So I'm going to share my screen with you here and show you what happened. And as you can see here, make this bigger. This is the message that eBay sends to the seller. It says on top, the dispute was found in the buyer's favor. You see the eBay logo. Here are the details. Gives you a dispute ID. I blocked out the names, but it says a decision has been made about the dispute that was filed by so-and-so. The dispute was found in the buyer's favor. As a result, you owe $30. So that's the cost of the shirt plus, and here's the kicker, a dispute fee of $20 to eBay. We will recover this amount from your account. By the way, no warning in advance that this is a possibility, which is why I'm making the video, so you're aware of this. Totally caught the seller by surprise. Okay. But again, this is why I mentioned about how it works with eBay's managed payments, because now they could go right in there and just grab that money right out of there. Now, they weren't able to do this beforehand, before managed payments, because PayPal was the processor, and this was not something they had the power to go and do. Now, if you're wondering, is this something that's now in eBay's policies? It is. This is from their policies. Policies change all the time. This is what it says. And it's a dispute fee. If you are found responsible for a disputed amount as per eBay policies, such as a chargeback, we charge a $20 dispute fee, excluding sales tax. And here's another kicker, for each dispute. So let's say there were 5 separate transactions. So they'd be treated separately by eBay, even though you might have combined shipping, and a person disputes each one of those. That's now $100 in dispute fees. And, for the average eBay transaction, which is like a $20 transaction or maybe even less than that, that's really going to hurt your average seller on eBay to get hit with a $20 fee in addition to having to refund the total amount. And it's going to make a lot of people angry. Makes you angry? Let me know down below in the comments section. I'm going to have some additional questions for you for the comments, so hang on for a second. Now, if you're looking at this and you're saying, yeah, I know Primetime, but listen, hey, PayPal had the same thing. They have a dispute fee. Well, that's right. They do. Here it is. It's from PayPal's page. They do have a dispute fee. It typically winds up to be around $15-20, but it's variable. It depends on different variables related to the transaction. But here's the difference. As I just mentioned earlier, before managed payments, okay, it was not common for a buyer to go directly to PayPal to file a dispute. That would not usually be their first line of attack. Sometimes it would be, usually in cases where there was a real scam going on, because they try to circumvent eBay's policies and go straight to PayPal. Typically, though, what in the average case, what my experience was, and many others, is that a person would go straight to eBay, which allowed you to work things out. And so this PayPal fee dispute fee was not really something people were having to deal with. And if it did go through PayPal, usually, people weren't getting hit with these types of fees. But now it looks like, and granted, this is just one example, but based on what I was told happened, it looks like this is going to be a reflexive thing if you wind up disputing something like this, like a chargeback, that you're going to get hit with this fee. Now, keep in mind, I just gave one example of something that got stuck in transit and the person changed their mind and wanted a refund. But remember, there's many, many reasons why someone could want a refund. You've all dealt with it probably. It could be a miscommunication, could be something that the buyer read wrong in the description, or they didn't see something in the photos that you mentioned, or something that doesn't fit and it's not really your fault. Granted, it could be something that's your fault, but my point is that there also could be a lot of times where it's not. And that is my main problem with all of this. I understand that there are situations where it could be reasonable for there to be some type of dispute fee in instances where there's a seller who is really trying to take advantage of buyers and is really doing something wrong. Of course, that would not be anyone who's watching any of these videos, wouldn't be any of you, but there are bad sellers out there, just like there's bad buyers. It happens. But again, this gets back to my point. This is something that needs to take place on a case-by-case basis and really needs to be reviewed thoroughly, as was not the case here. And how do I know that? And this gets to what you would want to do afterwards if you do file a dispute, is that you want to get in touch with eBay. Now, hopefully, there will be a time soon where you could just directly call them and get them on the phone. What this seller had to do is contact eBay for Business through their Facebook page, and then they will call you back at some point, which is, at this point, ridiculous. There is a little aside, but it's related. There needs to be a way now for us to just directly call eBay. I understand everything about the pandemic, but so many other places have adjusted and you could call directly into their business. You don't have to go through, eBay's cutting out the middleman with PayPal. Cut out the middleman with eBay for Business and let us just directly call eBay. If you agree with that, put that down in the comments too. If they're watching, I know they do watch. We need some feedback on that to get that back going again. But you could call back, you could call them, and once you get in touch with them, explain what happened, as the seller did here. Talk to a rep. If you're not having success with that, up it to a supervisor or manager, explain the situation. In this case, after everything was explained, eBay did realize that the seller did nothing wrong and waived the fee. But not everyone has that kind of personality. Okay, now, what I mean by that is there's some people who, if you're watching this, you might be someone like this who's a very agreeable person. You don't like confrontation. You don't want to call up and fight something. But in this case, you're going to have to if you want to get a chance of getting that $20 feedback. And there's no guarantee, by the way, you will get it back. But it's possible. And, if you're a long time eBayer, it's possible, you could explain like, listen, I wasn't aware of this, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes as a courtesy, they'll waive a fee once for you or something like that. I'm not telling anybody to not fight on principle. But if you're going to fight on principle, be aware that it's possible you could get this $20 fee and it might not be refunded. Is it possible that this $20 fee might go away at some point? I don't think so. I don't think that's realistic. I'd love to tell you, yes, let's all sign a petition. Let's all make videos about it and complain, but it's realistically not going to go away. So as a result, we have to figure out a way how we deal with it proactively and how we deal with it after the fact. Because sometimes we can't deal with it proactively because eBay doesn't let us. But there are instances where a buyer might reach out to you about a concern. And if you can use your good customer service skills to try to resolve it so that the buyer doesn't even get to a point where they file a case that you might then need to dispute because of how eBay handled it, then try to do that. Now, that is kind of what eBay is wanting anyway, but we don't have a choice. We're selling on their platform, and that's their rules. I just want to make sure you're aware of it and that you know how to deal with it. So I'm curious how you plan. Well, first of all, I'm curious in the comments, did you know about this before this video? That's important. I want to gauge that. Number two, how do you plan on dealing with it? Do you plan on dealing with it proactively, trying to avoid it totally, or do you plan on standing on principle in certain cases and just taking the risk and filing the dispute? So let me know. If you could like the video and comment, that gives the video extra help in terms of getting it out there. So that's real important. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. That's really important. Share the video with others. And I do want to do a quick member spotlight here for Connie. Connie is a member of the channel. For all members, what I like to do is share their store, a link to it in the comments section and in the description section. And if I can work it into a video, I try to do that as well. I can't guarantee it, but in this case, this is Connie's Books and Things, and she's got almost 900 items. So go check it out if you love books and the other types of items that you see here. Check it out. If you get something, let her know that Primetime sent you over there. And be sure to go and check out the different levels of membership here at the join button right over there. So I appreciate all of you for watching this video and taking the time to stick with it so far. And again, hope you liked it, and I'll see you back at the next one, everyone. Take care.